Dive Part 2. God-Man. God-Man. Author Dayanidhi Swami Saravananandha. Arut Perunjodi. Arut Perunjodi. தனிப்பெரும் கருணை அருட்பெரும் ஜோதி. Chapter 1. God. God. Religious minded people and the theologians of the world believe and accept in God generally. On the other hand, the materialist and so-called rationalist do not believe in God. But neither of these believers nor non-believers of the divine head have so far clearly explained their respective standpoints. So it matters little or less profitable whether a man believes or not in the orthodox God. Let us come to a clear idea of God. Let us come to a clear idea of God. The man is called the only rational being in this world of animate and inanimate creation. By that power of mind, the man is able to discover in and out secrets and mysteries of this universe. Little by little, the most intricate truths are revealed to him. In this way, he has come to understand that there is some most powerful energy which is the root cause of boundless universe of multifarious objects and potential energies. Man sees all, from the star of the heaven to the atom of the earth. Everywhere he finds something or other, and his mind at times transcends the admirable objective world to think of the unseen force working from the innermost of all. That innermost must be the most powerful one, which is beyond the touch of this human mind. Unless that great force is of almighty power, this wonderful universe cannot be held and put in order for eternity. That power is termed as omnipotence and omniscience. Besides, that power must be permanently existing in the core of every atom filled in the whole expansive universe. This attribute of that power is called omnipresence. Although it is existing omnipresent because it is beyond the mere sense of vision and feeling of the ordinary mind. Man has to get into the realm of the innermost. Man has to get into the realm of innermost, and then only he can come to understand that higher attribute. Scientific world of today has opened a minute atoms of many elements and has found out some wonderful physical forces. He is discovering all the proton, electron, neutron and many others only for material value and nothing else. This cannot be said to be divine or spiritual. Only when the mind of man is enlightened by stainless love and devotion, the true knowledge of that inner being blossoms on that plant. Here is to perceive the supreme divine root. It is eternally existing, covered in the smallest proton particle. Even though it is not acknowledgeable to the scientific mind of the man, it will be realizable and experienced in the near future by the men of true wisdom. Just like the present atomic energy was unknown to man before its invention. This most supreme divine force is yet to see light of the day. By the power of devotion and a single-minded contemplation, the man has already attained some soul knowledge and acquired some spiritual ideas, but it was flourishing to some degree in those days of calmly lived tiny population of the world. Now, owing to the fearful development of the material sciences, the good soul knowledge and true spiritual ideas are almost submerged in the inner self. The public is only running after the sensual life. The public is only running after the sensual life. All the religious instruction and preachings have not made the followers to lead an international brotherly life in this world. Material life of the sensual pleasures drives the people mad. The explosive population has become uncontrollable. It is found true that the evil mind is the dangerous workshop of devils, because there are some wise souls in the world. They are trying to pacify the world. The general public is able to live and find some solace to some extent. Only the divine will succeed finally. Only the divine will succeed finally. So we need not be afraid of all the present calamities flaring up here and there. Unwanted human desires will not be fulfilled. Unwanted human desires will not be fulfilled. Our spiritual masters discovered some inner truths and they recorded their individual experiences in different forms. The demonstration of the spiritual yogis only had touched the stage of soul, but the great thinkers and literary geniuses and wise physical philosophers had not given out anything valuable, as they had not dived deep into the spiritual ideals. Our religious masters were also well educated in soul culture, and therefore their theistic idol was praiseworthy. In those religions in which soul truth has not been conspicuously pointed out, the divine truth cannot be seen at all. Ignoring the inner truth of divinity, ignoring the inner truth of divinity, man stamped the label God to many more objects than the real one in the innermost. The nature and some natural objects of higher powers were taken to be worshipped. Thence grew all the superstitions. When the great abstract spiritual truths came out, they were taken but not digested by lay people and so they had to install some objects externally. Thus came into existence the idol worship. Thus came into existence the idol worship. Meanwhile, land once believed in the superhuman beings to aid and guide all worshippers. The real cause of the idol worship is not the final emancipation of Godhead, but this is not yet understood and tried by both the ordinary folks and land peoples. Besides the material scientific development too has come to black out the inner divine. The higher truth is held up above all by some masters in the scriptures, and that truth is assist the aspiring souls. Let us now come to acknowledge some explanation of God declared by some masters. In general, God is said to be all powerful, all merciful, and intelligent being. Such a superhuman being is found now here nowhere in this world. Such a superhuman being is found nowhere in this universe, and therefore he is thought of as an impersonal being. Though he is unseen, he is residing everywhere to help and control every person and everything in this great universe. Though he is unseen, he is residing everywhere to help and control every person and everything in this great universe. What is impersonal and unseen to ordinary man was formerly realized to some degree as personal and objective by spiritual masters. In his deep devotion, he wanted to know the truth of the inner divine. In his deep devotion, he wanted to know the truth of inner divine. So he contemplated upon that for a long time with all kinds of pursuits. When he was in higher concentration, he lost his feeling of his bodily existence, and he was as if only a conscious being. That consciousness was outcome of the brain center. Only when he again came down to the region of his heart, he was able to sense all the world around. From that experience, he came to know that his real being was as an inner one. From that experience, he came to know that his real being was an inner one, which would be finer than the physical external body. Then the subtle body too was found to be created and controlled by some unknown causal energy from the brain center, and the causal body was taken to represent the divine center. From that center, every power has been coming to display in this body. The spiritual yogis realized this divine center as the soul being. The soul is an eternal divine particle. The soul is an eternal divine particle in which all the divine force is fortified and is ever implemented by his omniscient will. From the Latin root, the word sol, meaning the sun, has been taken to represent our soul. Just like the soul or sun is the root cause of all universe and ourselves, the soul is to physical universal being of man. In other words, from the soul have been evolved all the forces to put the living man on this planet. Since soul of the man is not coming under sensual experience of him, he is unable to understand scientifically. This is why the soul is not correctly defined by many great personage. The soul is but the smallest body of divine being. The soul is but the smallest body of divine being. When the soul knowledge is clearly comprehended, the truth of God too will come to be experienced. So, now let us proceed to get a clear idea of the soul. We will continue in the next part number 3. Dayu.